Galacticos, we are live. We are live. Welcome. How are you? How are you today? We're going to talk about a couple things. A little bit about Gareth Bale being injured. Well, not injured, but maybe Zidane not taking any risks and not playing him on Sunday. Talk about Cristiano kind of saving the night with also James. Of course, I'm going to start by making a public apology for not mentioning James in my match review last night outside the Bernabeu. We're going to talk about the cover of Sport as well. Of course, starting the campaign for Messi, Ballon d'Or, and a couple more things. So let's see who's there already. Are you guys already logged in? There we go. We say Jose Ramirez, Obed Padilla, Trigger Happy, our friend Trigger Happy. How are you, man? We've seen you've been very active as usual, but more than usual lately. We thank you for that. We appreciate that. Interacting with all the subscribers, answering the comments. Joaquim Lode, hello to you. So a couple of things. First of all, and again, when I do wrong, no problem in apologizing and being or standing corrected, as I will do right now. Because yesterday in my review, a lot of you have mentioned it, I overlooked or oversaw or didn't mention James, who played a great game. The 15 minutes he was on the pitch, I think he did amazingly. And it's nothing personal that I didn't mention it. A lot of people say, oh, why you forget about James? So I'm going to give you a couple of stats of what happened with James last night. He came in minute 74, to be precise. And I wouldn't say that everything that happened or that Real Madrid's reaction was solely due to James Rodriguez. I don't think that's fair. I think Lucas Vazquez played a great part in that. Also Morata, of course. But James. And my point was, here, as you can see, James played 18 minutes, one assist for Morata, and chances created. He had a beautiful cross for Carvajal, who took it at first, one touch, couldn't put it in. It would have been an amazing goal. And then just saw James very active in attack, which is what he has to do. And I was very happy to see that, because this is the kind of James we are all waiting for. And I think this is the kind of James, this is the James Rodriguez that will definitely make it more difficult for Zidane to decide who's going to start in different games. But, of course, after saying that and, stating clear that I thought James did great last night, it is important to think that James was part of the strategy tonight as a sub. And, it worked. It definitely worked. 3 substitutions worked. I think Benzema, including definitely Zidane, we were all expecting more from Benzema. And we saw a very, let's say, not lazy, but maybe definitely not match fit or 100% match fit Benzema, that's for sure. So I was very happy to see that, okay, the initial plan didn't work, but Zidane had the enough intelligence to see what changes were necessary, and those changes worked, all of them. Lucas Vazquez came in for Bale. I think Bale was doing a great game. I was not liking Benzema a lot, and maybe Cristiano was less active than expected, but well, he scored that goal. And that's the thing with Cristiano. When he scores, it's a good game. I was liking Bale, but I think Lucas Vazquez gave a lot more depth in the attack. He created a lot more chances going on those 1v1s with their left back, and actually, helped to put Sporting, back and to throw them against their goal and just wait for our chances to come, which they did. And then Morata, of course, not only for scoring that goal, but for the play he generated, for how well he moves in between defenders, how much he comes back and track on defense and kind of, becomes part of the play even before it's an attack play. When we're trying to move the ball around and generate those spaces, he gets involved, and I like that. And then, of course, James doing a little bit more of the same thing. So the changes, the substitutions work. And I think that is great news for Real Madrid. I think for our friends in Colombia or friends around the world, this is not about James should play more or Modric should play more or Benzema should play more. This is about Real Madrid winning. And yesterday we saw that some players need to play 60 minutes, some players need to play 10, 15, 20. Of course, this will change. It's a very long season. But I think the initial game plan wasn't working, but, the alternatives worked. And that is definitely good news. I wouldn't think of that as bad news ever. So that's about James. So I stand corrected and I apologize. Let's talk about some more things. Let's see what people are commenting. Yeah, says Benzema wasn't great, but he should have played in the Espanyol. Let's see how Zidane feels that maybe the Espanyol game is another chance to keep or to put Benzema more in match fit condition. I think that's mainly the idea. Definitely, what we saw last night was not Benzema, let's say, in all his glory, so to speak. Definitely, we are all waiting on Benzema to be again match fit, and it's just a matter of minutes. So I think he should have them. I don't think people, we should crucify Benzema for what he did last night, saying like, oh, he's not ready, he's not good enough, let's get rid of him. Not at all. But yeah, I think the game against Espanyol, maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we saw James start. I don't know what's going to happen, but definitely for me, what gives me this great feeling I have today is that this kind of competition for each position and every player knowing that, they're not that far from being the starting player in their position keeps everybody on edge. And that is great. Because if you have players that feel relegated, when you put them in for 10 minutes, those 10 minutes are not going to be good. But if you have players thinking, okay, I have 10 minutes, in this 10 minutes I can prove that I can be a starter, then those 10 minutes will be a lot better from the same player in a different situation. So let's say, Alejandro says, Sporting were better in all aspects of the game. Yeah, that's debatable. I think they were more organized, they were more solid, they definitely had a lot more intensity during too many and too long moments of the game. But in the end, an aspect of the game, to win the game, is scoring more goals, and they were not better at that. So, I couldn't agree 100% with your comment, but to a certain extent, I do. José Terrones says, no sé hablar inglés, pero igual salúdame. Says, I don't know how to speak English, but say hi to me. Hello to you. Is Bale injured? That's the next thing we're going to talk about. I don't think he's injured. It's definitely not an injured, but it's an accident or a clash of the game. It's un golpe, a bump, maybe. It's one of those things that causes pain during the game and after when you cool down, but it's not an injury. I mean, Bale should be 100% fit to play on Sunday. Maybe, again, this is one of the other good things that having a very good and, let's say, big and complete squad gives you, is you don't have to risk any players. If there is a slight risk of Bale getting injured, if he plays on Sunday, we don't need Bale. I'm not saying that, Bale is not a great player and what he gives, probably he's the only one capable of giving it. But, we have more options. So if Zidane thinks there will be the slightest of risks with Bale playing on Sunday, he won't play, and I think that's fine. So he's not injured per se. He doesn't have an injury. But, if it's a risk playing him, we shouldn't, and I think Zidane won't. And that's good news. Says they were good at exploiting our weaknesses. I agree with you, Trigger Happy. They were. I think a weakness we showed last night, which is not normally a weakness, is we let them play too much in the midfield. We allowed them too much control of the ball in the midfield. And we ended up paying for that. Well, not really, but almost. Miraculously, we didn't. Once again, the epic Real Madrid comeback. But, that's a very thin ice, man. It's very thin ice. But let's say watching from Jamaica, future Madrid star. Saludos, big up to Jamaica. Saludo, hello my friend, how are you? Anas Kayed, we were talking about you earlier today, man. That's crazy. We were thinking, where is Anas Kayed? Where has Anas Kayed gone? And there you are, man. How are you? Messi is a better player than CR7, but he deserves the Ballon d'Or. Who deserves it, Messi or Cristiano? Because this is exactly my next point. Look at this. This is a cover of Sport today. You already know that we don't take sport seriously, and nobody should if you want to keep your mental health. But look at this cover today. Boom! It says, Leo Messi, Ballon d'Or, you deserve it. Oh, I can only laugh at this. I don't know if you had seen this, but this is the cover. This is not a montage that we, the Galacticos, have prepared on Photoshop to make fun of this. This is real. This is happening. And it's crazy. I think it is absolutely crazy saying that Messi, Ballon d'Or, this is, when people accuse Real Madrid fans of campaigning in favor of something, they sometimes overlook or fail to see this. This is a real nonsensical campaign. I mean, don't get me wrong. Messi is an awesome player. It would never be wrong to give him the Ballon d'Or because he's great. But in this case, in this specific season and situation, that they have started the campaign because, they shown in a game against Celtic. It's a joke. And this is an insult to people's intelligence. And not, of course, Real Madrid fans or fans of other clubs around the world. This is an insult to Barcelona's fans. And I think the most pissed off people at this should be Barcelona fans. It's like, yeah, the great display of magic against Celtic puts Messi first in line to be the Ballon d'Or. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? I mean, we think Cristiano deserves it. If it's between Cristiano and Messi, we think Cristiano deserves it. It wouldn't be crazy to say that maybe Cristiano wasn't the most consistent or the best player in all the world this season. I could agree with that, for sure. But to say that Messi deserves the Ballon d'Or because he scored a hat-trick and played beautifully against Celtic in the Camp Nou is a joke and is an insult. And that is how it should be taken, and that's how you should take it. That's my opinion. All right, let's go for more. Says, Madrid should buy Messi. Yeah, well, that has been on the table, but I don't think it's going to happen. Says, sport is a joke. It is a joke. I just showed you the best proof that they are a joke. What happened with Fabio Coentrao, says Mr. Hacker. Fabio Coentrao is still injured. He came back being injured, and, he's getting back to be match fit again, but I think he won't be available at least for 2 more weeks until October. And after that, I think we will see minutes from Coentrao. Anas Cayet says, Adrien Silva and William Carvalho were brilliant in midfield and they closed down the key to our A game, Luka Modric. Completely agree. Adrien Silva is a player I liked a lot during the Euro Cup. Also, William Carvalho, again, a lot of you were going crazy over William Carvalho in the summer. We should sign him. I don't think we should have. And I don't think it was a mistake by Real Madrid not signing him. But they did play a great game tonight. My favorite player last night was definitely Gelson Martins, number 77, the right winger, let's say, who put Marcelo, Ramos, Varane, and everybody who dared go near him in serious trouble. And I don't know if that should be a red flag for us or it was just, a situation of a specific game. But definitely we saw a lot of, carencias, a lot of Marcelo lacking a lot of things in defense. It is true, he kind of corrected in extremis a lot of those plays by making beautiful tackles. But if he hadn't, he would have been more, more criticized because of how not well he was standing in defending positions. But anyway, I think Sporting played a great game. They came here to compete. They were not one of those smaller teams that come and say like, oh, just the experience of playing in the Bernabeu, that's all we need. And, they made the best use of their tools and their weapons to compete in the best way possible. And, man, they were 4 minutes away from winning, 3 minutes away from drawing, and, a breath away, and they lost. But, do you think Zidane should change the starting lineup more frequently? I mean, to be honest, we kind of have this myth, but this is the first time in the season that this has been the starting lineup. So he has been changing it around very frequently. It has been different in every game. So, I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. I think, he's rotating Pepe, Varane, and Ramos. We've seen Nacho on the left. We've seen, of course, Marcelo. We've seen Carvajal, and we've seen Danilo. We've seen Kovacic. We've seen Asensio, Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric. James, Isco is now injured. We've seen Morata, Bale, Benzema, Cristiano. I think rotations are so far they're working for us, and Zidane is doing them. I was kind of afraid to think that maybe it was going to be a little bit of a myth. Say like, oh yeah, we have a very deep squad and we're going to rotate and then not doing it. But I think Zidane is being a man of his word in that department, and I'm very happy for that. What else did I want to talk to you about? Well, of course, Marca talks about Real Madrid, and así gana el Madrid is a very kind of famous, popular war cry here in Madrid. Again, appealing to the spirit of Juanito. Those of you who don't know what that is, I'm going to explain the espíritu de Juanito. Juanito was a very mythical player. There was characterized for being a warrior and being present in some of the most mythical comebacks of Real Madrid. So, I don't know. I was scared. I didn't think it was necessary. But sometimes it's not our decision. We're playing other teams who have a lot to offer and a lot to say. And that's what happened last night. I see a lot of you in the comments were like, oh man, we should have dominated more. We should. And Ideally Real Madrid should dominate and beat every team in the world, but that's not realistic. And I think yesterday we didn't play our best, but we competed. And when the 20 last minutes came, we were ready to fight, and we won fighting. And that is as exciting as thrashing a smaller team 6 or 7-0 for me. Did you talk about James? Yeah, I talked about James. I think James played a great 15 minutes last night. And if we keep seeing James like this, it won't be long until James starts. But again, my friends, this is not about James starting, Cristiano starting. This should not be, and it isn't, to us, how many minutes does Cristiano play? How many minutes does Benzema play? No, it's about Real Madrid winning. And yesterday, we used our tools to win a game. A very difficult game that we ended up winning. And I think that's what should have us happy. And not thinking like, oh, yesterday is perfect proof that Zidane doesn't know what he's doing with James, and that James should be the starter and the star of Real Madrid. It's not about that. Let's not take it down that road. But James played a great game. I'm happy for him. And I'm happy that, in a performance like last night, James will understand. It's like, man, maybe I'm not starting, but if I'm playing 15, 20, or 30 minutes, I can be of severe importance to the team. And I think that's good. Let's see, the cover of AS says, El Moratazo. Another thing that made me happy is yesterday, I think Morata is a very regular player. Already, I'm not a big fan of him. If I could choose between 10 other number 9s, Morata would be number 12. But, he provides a lot of work, maybe the invisible work, a lot of defense, effort when he tracks back. He participates a lot. He's very active. He creates a lot of spaces inside the box or in the wings for other players to, make the most of those spaces by moving right. I mean, he has a good instinct. And the only thing that Morata is lacking for me is the finishing department. And last night, that is what he didn't lack. He had that chance and he put it in. And it was a great cross by James. I can't, stress that enough. It was amazing. It was beautiful. The quality of James, the talent of James is never a doubt. He's amazing. And, I saw a very beautiful comment today, very creative, one of our fans who said, Morata's goal should have been called off because James sent that pass with his hand. Kind of saying that it was so precise that, he threw it with his hand. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was beautiful. But Morata put it in, man. And the last minute of the game, he did what he had to do. And a message for Morata. I know, Morata, that if you're watching this, Alvaro, as long as that ball crosses the line, we'll be happy with you. But those were some of the things I wanted to talk to you about. My dear Galacticos, let's see what you have to say. Says, my BBC is very convincing. Yeah, I think it will be. I didn't think it was very convincing last night. But again, we won. I would bench Benzema for James, playing him as a false 9. Do you agree, Alejandro? We have talked, and me and Mateo kind of agree with on this. And I think at some points, I personally don't really like this how set in stone the 4-3-3 system is. I don't think, it's something, it should be a religion, the 4-3-3. So whoever we use and whoever we play, it has to be inside the 4-3-3 format. I don't agree with that. I think this Madrid maybe has more players to play 4-4-2 than to play 4-3-3. And in a situation like that, I would see maybe Casemiro, Kroos and Modric with James playing with Ronaldo and Bale. I mean, I don't think we need more firepower than Ronaldo and Bale up top. But anyway, says Vitaly, please don't ignore this message. Please give me a quick shout out for Vidget the Gamer. I will not ignore this message. Vidget the Gamer. Vidget the Gamer, this is for you. Shout out for you. Hello, hola, how are you? So shout out for you. This is me not ignoring your message. Says, what do you prefer Real Madrid winning, La Liga or the Champions? Of course, I want the triplete, Stephen James. This is something we've also been talking about for weeks. It's difficult to say. I prefer La Liga. That's my opinion, and I'm very clear about it. I prefer La Liga because we won the Champions League last year. And in the Champions League department, there's no one even nearly remotely close to us. So, we could not win the Champions for 3, 4, 5 years and it'd be fine. But the little ingredient that would make us the first team ever to win the Champions League twice in a row, if we win it this year, gives it that little thing, you know. And I do think if there's one team in the world that should be the first team to win it twice in a row, it should be us. So that kind of, puts weight on that side of the scale. But I prefer La Liga because I do think La Liga is definitely the tournament of consistency, of proving that you have been the better team throughout 10 months and not, 10 games. And it would break a domination of Barcelona that is blatant. And I don't think any Real Madrid fans are happy or would be happy with seeing Barcelona lifting another La Liga trophy, which would be the number 8 in 10 years, which is ridiculous. I think we have to start, fighting or putting in doubt, at least, that domination and win the league. So if we only won the league this year, I think it would be a very successful season. I think that. What is your opinion, Galacticos? Let me know. Says, I always ask youth questions, they never get answered. Who do you want to talk about? You think that James and Casemiro could play together? Definitely. Didn't they play together last night? There you go. I think pretty much everybody in this squad can play together. Says Ronaldo is back. What will happen with Marco Asensio? Well, Marco Asensio was not even on the list last night. But again, we shouldn't be thinking about one game as an absolute truth. Not because Marco Asensio wasn't on the list last night means that, okay, Marco Asensio will be, thrown into oblivion. Not at all, man. Again, this is a very long season. We have a lot of competitions, and I'm sure everybody will have their chance to show how valuable they are. Everybody. Copa del Rey, Champions League, Liga, the World Cup Club. Man, the season is long. All right, says, so he should play at false 9, so the likes of Morata and Mariano are always benched. Come on, man, other players for their position. Okay. Again, I think a lot of you are seeing this too much as like individual fights for position instead of Real Madrid trying to achieve a goal as a team. And I think in many games having a 4-4-2, would mean also giving James more minutes, Isco, Asensio, and having Cristiano and Bale up top, and maybe Cristiano and Bale, Cristiano and Morata, Bale and Morata, maybe Mariano and Bale, Mariano and Cristiano. I'm not saying that if we play 4-4-2 and James becomes that fourth midfielder, it would be in detriment of Morata or Mariano. That's not my point at all. Is it time to win the league again? Yeah, it is time to win the league. We need to win the Liga. It's a moral thing, I agree. I think the greatest Madrid player is Zidane. Not now. Vitaly, shout out Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, I'm going to start closing. Okay, so send a couple of shout outs. Trigger Happy. We owe you, talking about academy players. Although we have talked about Vallejo, we have talked about Mayoral, we have talked about Llorente in Alaves, but we'll talk more in depth. So, Solari will do good in Castilla and Guti do good for the U9 team. And okay, good. I think Sergio Diaz is a great prospect. He's a very powerful player. I saw him a little bit with, where was it? I can't remember right now. But yeah, I think Solari is a better equipped coach and manager than Guti. My personal opinion is of absolute dislike towards Guti. I don't like Guti at all or anything that has to do with Guti. So I don't think, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think, his managing qualities will take that team to any good. But I do have a lot of faith in Solari. Shout out for Ibrahim Hockey. Shout out for Mohamed Bot. Shout out for Legendary Gaming. Shout out for Alejandro. Shout out for Malik Ali. And shout out to Pakistan. Shout out for Mr. Awesome 9724 for Hola, ¿qué hace? Hola, ¿qué hace? ¿Se despide o qué hace? Hola, ¿qué hace is a joke that it's very difficult to explain in English, but hola, ¿qué hace? ¿Me despido o qué hace?